Hi everyone, today we're taking a look at the LA Comic-Con exclusive VToys Asura. I got this figure from 5K Toys and it's my first VToys action figure, so I'm excited for it. They also have a red version of this one that's not exclusive that's available, but I like the green one a bit more. First we'll take a look at some of the details. I really like the sculpt on the face of this figure. On the red version it says it's supposed to be a demon. I got the green one because he looks a bit more like an orc. There's a design sculpted into the forehead of the figure and a third eye there. Looks sort of like an Eye of N'Zoth from Warcraft. That's pretty cool. The eyes are done really well. They stand out against the green skin very well. I like that there's some shading around the eyes, help them pop a bit more. There's a bit of a wash to help bring out those details on the forehead and some of the wrinkles. The hair looks good. It's an off-white plastic with some brownish paint in there to help bring out the details. I think it's sculpted well, it has good flow to it. His teeth are painted cleanly, and he has some more sculpted details on the upper lip with the wash to help bring those out. I like his beard a lot. I'm always partial to a character with a beard. Coming down to the body, the paint for the green on the face matches the body well. The head's molded in that off-white plastic, and then the face is painted, it looks like. There does seem to be a wash over the skin on the body and arms, but most of it is covered by fabric. Kind of this dark blue fabric with black trim here. I like the asymmetric design with the one shoulder pad. Some cool sculpted details in the shoulder pad there. And that's painted well. It's like a dark brownish metallic with the gold accents. There's also some good contrast with the red details here. I like the face on his belt. I think that looks really cool. He's got this little extra thing hanging off. One little loop on this side of the belt. That's to hold a knife. We'll show that in the accessories. The arms have cloth sleeves that go halfway up. On the shoulders and biceps there's some vein details sculpted in. The gauntlets are painted cleanly as well. These are also removable if you just wanted to have the cloth sleeves. And then on the hands, he has some armor to match. I like the wrinkles sculpted into the hands. There's a wash over those as well, so those pop a bit. The bottom of the cloth here is a bit tattered, and there's a hole. That same piece of cloth, that same tattering on the back, same hole. The cloth on the side has a bit different tattering though, but both the side cloth pieces are the same. His pants are dark gray, and then his shin armor matches his gauntlets. Those have a greenish blue teal rope there, the same kind of dark brown metallic with the gold accents and then the red details. The toes and sandals are sculpted pretty well, similar to the hands. And he does have some texture and a peg hole on the bottom of the foot. Also some weathering and detail on the back of the leg armor and on the inside of those gauntlets. For accessories, he comes with an angry head. I believe this angry head is exclusive to the green version, so I don't think there's a red one of this, unfortunately. I think this is done well. It's got kind of an asymmetric snarl on the mouth. I like that he actually looks angry and the entire expression is changed, not just the mouth. A lot of times, some companies will just change the mouth, but not the rest of the expression, so it ends up not looking quite right, but this one's done really well. The other accessory for the exclusive version is this dagger. It has some faces on the pommel here. And it's done in a really nice gold with a dark wash over it. So that's pretty cool. I don't know how much I'll actually display him with this, but I do think it's cool. For accessories, both this and the red version come with. He's got these wide open hands, some slightly less splayed open hands, fists, and gripping hands. For these gripping hands, the thumb is sculpted onto the fingers. So any accessories will need to be able to slide through the hand. You can't pry them open. He comes with a dagger. This is painted well. There's some nice detail on the handle. And a nice metallic on the blade. Hands are kind of tight. You might need to heat these up to get it fully in there. Feels like a bit of a struggle if I were just to push it in there. Also comes with a sheath for the dagger. It has some more of the gold detailing on it. Dagger does fit in there, bit of a snug fit. Mine's not quite going in all the way, but I think if I heated that up a bit it would go in. I heated up the hand and the sheath with a hair dryer, and the dagger slid right in there, so that fits pretty well. and the dagger fit into his little loop on his belt. So that looks pretty cool. I always like when you can store the weapons on the figure. It comes with this pot. I believe this is supposed to say alcohol or wine or something. That's what I heard, at least. I'm not certain. But this looks pretty okay. It's mostly a black plastic with a wash on it. The top here looks pretty nice. It has a wash as well. I don't know that I'll really use this much or display him with it, but it's cool that he comes with it. He comes with this hat. This is sculpted nicely. It has some scratches and battle damage on the top there. Some gold detailing again. No paint on the bottom, but it does have a little string so you can hang it over his back like that. This doesn't fit super securely onto the head, like it's not sculpted to rest on the head exactly, so it can kind of be a little bit floppy. I think it looks pretty cool on him though, but it may just be a little finicky to get into place, especially when the scarf is on him, because the string can butt into the scarf and kind of make it a bit off kilter. Also his ponytail pops off, so you can remove the hat and put it on. Speaking of the scarf, this is just a long strip of fabric with a wire running down each edge along the seams there. There's some tattering on each end. The same kind of tattering it looks like. I've got it kind of curled up and posed a bit because I had it on him already. I really like this scarf. It's long enough that you can have both ends dangling off. You can wrap it around his neck a few times and it gives a nice sense of flow and makes the figure look dynamic when it's posed. So I like that accessory a lot. And finally he comes with a big sword in a sheath. This has this loop of string around it so you can hang that around his shoulders. There's some cool like flame details sculpted in here. Looks really nice. And the sword also looks great. More of those cool flame details on the blade there. There's some battle damage, like a nick taken out of the blade. This side has some different battle damage right there. This round hole detail thing, I think this looks really cool. And then on the hilt, there's a little metal ring. And then this hanging off the end looks like a little dragon head breathing fire. That's pretty neat. To get this in his hand, the pommel comes off. The pommel on this exclusive dagger comes off as well. And technically you can swap these out if you want. I had to heat up the hand again to get the sword in there since it's a bit thicker than the dagger, but it fits in there well. And it's pretty light, so I don't think he's going to have any issues holding it up or being posed with it for long periods. For this sword, you can just pop off the head and then slip this over. It's a little bit loose. I like the way it kind of sits low on the back though. If you'd want it like tighter and more snug to the back, you could tie the knot on this string a little bit tighter, and that'll get rid of some of the slack there. You could have it pretty snug if you'd like. Onto the articulation, the head is on a double ball peg, you can see here. So with that, he can look up this much and down pretty much all the way. It's mostly his beard clashing into his chest there. Also has some side to side tilt, that double ball peg, and you can kind of pose it around however you want. So that's good. No joint in the neck. On the one hand, I think it could have improved the neck articulation. On the other hand, then you wouldn't have this seamless look. So I can see why they didn't go with that. For the hair, there's a ball and then a socket in the ponytail. So you can rotate that around. And it has a little bit of wiggle on there. I think that's good for posing in the same direction as the scarf, so it really looks like the wind's blowing in a certain direction. The arms go out to the side, more than 90 degrees, so that's good. Full rotation on the left arm. On the right arm, he's got the shoulder pad, so it may clash into that a bit. I do think that the shoulder pad and the belt are removable, as is the shirt. I'm not going to remove those, but I've seen other people do that. He has a bicep swivel. He has a double jointed elbow. I think the gauntlet maybe limits it a little bit. And then there is a ball hinge at the hands. Again, a little bit limited by the gauntlet, so you can't get a ton of range there. Let's take off the gauntlet and see if that changes anything. So you can just pop off the hand and then the gauntlet slides off. You can keep the sleeve there. You can squeak out just a little bit more range at the elbow. And then quite a bit more range with the hands. I've also found sometimes posing the gauntlet will scooch the hand off when you have the elbow bent. I think it could be a cool look to have one arm all armored up and the other one with just a cloth. That could be neat. So for the torso, there's a ball peg at the abdomen there. Not a ton of range on that. You can scooch forward a little bit, back just a little bit. Does have some side to side wiggle. And then at the waist, another ball peg. Some forward and back scooch. And more side to side. So with both of those, it's going to lean forward not a ton. Back a little bit more. It's maybe not the best range on the torso. I do think it's limited a little bit by the belt. And some side to side movement as well. It's not terrible. I think you can definitely get him into some poses. Also, if we bend him forward on the hips, then you can get him to look down even more. But so I think with overall, with everything combined, it'll be fine. It is maybe just a little bit limited there with the thick belt that covers most of the torso. For the legs, they go out this much, and those seem to be limited by the pants. This is taut. Let's bring one leg in and see how far we can get this one out. Yeah, so pretty much all the way to the side. Pretty good leg articulation. He kicks forward this much. Back this much. Feels like he's got a butt cheek sculpted in under there, so that stops the leg from going back too far. Double jointed knees. Go up not quite all the way. That may be due to the shin armor. It's clashing into the back of the thigh. He's got a swivel at the thigh and also a boot swivel. The foot is on a double ball peg. So it goes back this much and forward this much. Not a ton of range on the foot. It does have a pretty good ankle rocker though. Some of that limitation is due to the foot bumping into the leg armor here. You can't take off the armor though since it's pegged into the armor. Since it's on a double ball peg, to get the maximum range out of it, you're going to want to shift the foot forward and then tilt it down. If it shifted back and you try to tilt it down, then the back of the foot's going to bump into the armor and it won't move at all. And then with tilting it up, you're going to shift it back and then tilt it upward. Still, not the most range there, so that could definitely be better. Maybe if the balls on the double ball peg were larger, or maybe if it had a big ball hinge, that would benefit it some, but as is, not the best foot articulation. And then limited at the waist. I don't really want to take the armor off to see if it gets better articulation without that though. I've seen other people do that. I just don't want to deal with the hassle of trying to put it all back together. For sizing comparisons, he's standing at about 6.5 inches to the top of the head and 7 inches to the top of his ponytail. For some bigger character comparisons, here he is next to the Furry Planet Master Wang and Thousand Toys Hellboy. I feel like stylistically he goes pretty well with Master Wang. I wish that his hat fit on his head like Master Wang's does. Like Master Wang's has some slots for the ears so it stays pretty snug on there. Here he is with the Animal Warriors of the Kingdom Lexion and a Marvel Legends Black Suit Spider-Man, so he'll fit in pretty well with either of these lines. For 4 Horseman figures, I don't have any of the Mythic Legion's orcs, but here he is next to the Mask of the Red Death, and here's a NECA Ninja Turtle to see how he fits with NECA characters. I think he scales pretty well with either of these. And finally, here he is with the Noda Wukong and SH Figuarts Gabimaru. I think stylistically he fits in really well with the Noda Wukong. I actually prefer the scarf that came with him a bit more than Wukong's. I like the length of it a little bit more and that it's tattered on the edges. If you've seen my Best Action Figures of 2023 video, you may know that Wukong was probably my top figure of last year, between him and Veteran William. But when I saw Asura, I thought he looked like he would go pretty well with Wukong, and I was excited to put him in a display with Wukong. I like the weathering on Wukong's soft goods a little bit more, but that's not to say I don't like the overall look of Asura, and I think his armor looks really cool. So yeah, I think they go well together. Even though he's a bit taller than Wukong, I still think they scale pretty well together. Not every figure has to be exactly the same height. I think their builds look like they could fit in the same world together. The SH Figuarts Gabimaru, also one of my favorite figures of last year, doesn't quite fit in as well stylistically with him, but Gabimaru fights all sorts of weird creatures, so I think I could still pose them together and it would look alright. But yeah, definitely looking forward to having him and Wukong together. Happy to have both of those. So overall, I like this figure a lot. It looks really cool. The articulation's maybe a little bit more limited than I would have hoped, but I don't think it's going to prevent me from getting it in some cool poses. And if you collect things like Mythic Legions, I don't think you're going to be disappointed at all in the articulation here. So despite the articulation being just a little more limited than I initially expected, I can still get him into some really cool poses, and I still think he looks great. I was excited to get an orc looking character in the collection. I think the red version looks pretty cool too, and would probably go well with all the red accents on the armor. I just thought the green version looked a little bit cooler personally. As I'd said, I got mine from 5K Toys, and last I checked they still had some of this exclusive version. That may not be the case by the time I put this video up, but I'll put a link below anyway. I think some other places had it as well. 5K Toys was also doing like a free gift as well, just like LA Comic-Con merch. So I got this hat with mine, which is pretty neat. So if you like the look of this figure, I'd recommend it. I think I'm going to get a lot of fun out of it, and I'm happy to have it in the collection. It was about $75, which is pretty decent for a 1/12 scale figure like this with soft goods and the detail and everything. So I don't think that's too bad. Do maybe wish it would have a little bit more accessories, but I'm not too bent out of shape about that. Let me know in the comments below if you're going to get this version or the red version, or what you think of the figure in general. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.